So Dr. Courtney Vengren is works in our Office of Education Assessment. So she put this together for us, and you can contact her if you have like super specific questions, or just want to talk about statistics. She loves it. So who applies? When this is formatting is wrong, but we'll get there. So this is essentially who applied. So this would have been the last about 3 years of data. So actually 2015 through 2018, because we're still kind of wrapping up that application cycle for this year. So you can see most students who apply are kind of from the Midwest. You'll see those darker states, especially Iowa and Nebraska, because we have Iowa, of course, our in-state residents. Nebraska, because we have that 2+2 program with them. And then some of our bordering states, those students applying to multiple schools, a lot of times still want to stay close to home and decrease costs there. We do really have students from all over applying. So how do you measure up? These are our last 45 and required science GPA averages. So again, these are kind of different pools of application, our applicants. So we have our Iowa students that we look at for those seats reserved for Iowa. We have our Nebraska students who we look at just for those Nebraska seats. And then we actually also split out North and South Dakota as well, although they're included in this kind of all others. So that kind of gives you an idea of where, so these are the average GPAs for those students applying to that school, not necessarily getting in. We'll get there for who gets in. So 90% of the applicants who submit an application and are academic or reviewed have above a 2.57. So most students who throw their hat in the ring at least have above that minimum overall GPA that we look at. That's for the last credit hours. So then who's here? So again, a reminder of who applied versus who's here. Now the bulk of those students are from Iowa, because out of a class of 157, we reserve about 55 to 60 seats for students from the state of Iowa. So it makes sense that we have more Iowa students than any others. We also have a good majority of Nebraska, but you can see there we've got a good mix of students from all over the country. So where did these, what colleges did they come from? Not surprising, most of the students who kind of have that animal or agriculture focus tend to land at Iowa State for undergrad if they're from Iowa, and sometimes even the surrounding states. So we do get a lot of students from Iowa State. We do not give preference to students from Iowa State, though. So that's kind of important to note, that you are not kind of out of the running if you didn't go to Iowa State, and you're not ahead of the game if you did go to Iowa State. It just kind of is interesting how the numbers match up. Again, same with University of Nebraska at Lincoln for those students coming in from Nebraska. We do get a good number of students from South Dakota State University, not only because we currently have a contract with the state of South Dakota to reserve a few seats for South Dakota residents. We actually have quite a number of students who are Iowa residents who go to SDSU too. So that's kind of one of our top ones, and same for North Dakota State. And then interesting, University of Findlay is right below that. That's a small college in Ohio, but they really like coming to Iowa State. So, and then from all over the place, somebody said something about Cyclones, or Cyclones versus Hawkeyes. We do see Iowa students as well. So just kind of interesting to see how many schools are represented here. They all wear their same, their school, yes, gear, but yeah. So do we get a lot of international applicants? We get a fair amount. Currently in the first year class that now are, so Kate's class, the one that's moving up to second year, we have 3 international students, right? From, yeah. So yes, some definitely. Yeah. Any other questions about that? Cool. So what degrees are held? Again, I'm sorry that the formatting is weird, but so most students are coming in with a bachelor's degree. Some come in with those higher degrees as well. And then some come in, like Victoria was talking about, with before they earn that bachelor's degree. You can apply early and get in before you earn your bachelor's degree if you want to save kind of time and tuition dollars. So what are the majors? Most common majors for students are animal science and biology. It kind of makes sense if you're interested in working with animals or you're interested in kind of the life sciences, that those two would be the most popular. And then kind of beyond that, some schools do veterinary medicine or veterinary sciences as a degree, or biological sciences. And these are pulled from what you'll put in as your major in BIMCAS. So you'll see there, then we start adding some more of the chemistries and engineering and all of that kind of stuff. And then even more, we have a journalism major here, which is really interesting. I think we do get pre-med students who kind of go the pre-med route at their institution, knowing that they're actually jumping over to veterinary medicine, or they, we convert them to veterinary medicine instead of human science or human medicine too. But a lot of different backgrounds here. It's not just, those animal science students who went to an agriculture school. It's kind of all over the board. Okay, so 90% of the students who are sitting in classes, well, not right now, but throughout the year, have above a 3.02. So those students offered admission had above a 3.02. So just kind of thinking about that. Yes. So this is, let's see. Let's see if it'll tell me here. She doesn't have it in her notes. I think it's still last 45 because that was what the previous statistic was. Sorry about that. We didn't put that. Good question. Any other question? That was your question too. So, and then, so you work really hard to get into vet school, you work really hard to stay in vet school, and then what happens after vet school? So a little bit about our graduates. So this is the class of 2018. We poll 2017, we poll our graduates kind of after 6 months and then after a year. So that year data for the class of 2018 is just starting to roll in. But most of our students are employed. A lot of times if a student isn't employed, it's not because they just can't find a job anywhere. There's plenty of jobs in veterinary medicine. A lot of times it's they're waiting for a spouse to be ready to move so that they can, find a job out of the area. Maybe, they're finishing up a degree program or, a master's or a PhD or something like that. So then here's where they're going. And a little bit about the average salary that those students are earning as well. So you can see if you stay kind of in the Midwest, you're kind of in that $50,000 to $70,000 range. Now this would include residencies and internships and residencies. It will include part-time work, so this isn't necessarily full-time, but so kind of a good average starting salary for those students. And then here you go, you can kind of see the range in those students who went into private practice. So this is all private practice. The red is the low end or lower than average. The yellow is higher than average. Any questions about that? That was super brief.